In this video, I'm going to give you a long-term review of the products that I use in my smart home. Make sure you stick around, and if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button below and keep an eye out for more videos. Hi, I'm Will from Surridge Tech, and today I'm going to run through the kit I use in my smart home, giving you my long-term opinion of it all. We'll look at the pros and cons of each device, and then most importantly, we'll see whether I'd buy it again if I were to start over. So, let's get going. Right, the first category we're going to look at is heating. So for my heating system, I have a Honeywell EvoHome system with thermostatic radiator valves, TRVs, and then it comes with kind of a base station and a controller unit. So the valves talk to the controller and the base station all via an RF 800-ish megahertz frequency. And if any zone wants heat, then that radiator will open and it will cool the boiler for heat. So it's a very simple system, but very effective. Why did I get it in the first place? Well, I got it because it was kind of the only thing out there that had TRV-based zoning. And good compatibility and capability with that. You can have up to 12 zones. You can have multiple TRVs in one zone, one room. So it's a really comprehensive system. And it was the only one out there at the time. I think Tado now have a system, and Drayton Weiser also have a system quite similar. But I still don't think they're quite actually as good as the EvoHome system. So the pros of this system: it's fairly easy to set up. You just screw on your TRVs if you've got them. If you don't, then it gets more complicated. The zoning is great. It's very effective. The app isn't bad, but it's not hideous. You know, you can set up schedules for each room individually and all of that. So it's not bad. So the negatives is that it is a cloud-only integration with Home Assistant, which is a real shame because the cloud has gone offline a couple of times, and that has left me a little bit stuck, unfortunately. But so be it. You can still control it locally with the controller, so you're not out of heating, but it is a shame that it does go offline. So the Home Assistant integration, that's a good integration, other than it being cloud. You can do anything you want to. You can override a schedule, you can revert it to a schedule, you can set a temperature, you can set a temperature for a duration, and then it will go back to the schedule. So it is comprehensive, which is great. Would I get it again? Yes. I'm very happy with it. It does exactly what it's meant to. And as I said, I don't think there's anything else out there that is the same, if not better at all. So Honeywell EvoHome it is. So our second category is lighting. So in my house, predominantly, I've got Hue light bulbs, and that covers most of my lighting. I've also got some Aqara switches, and I'm also using WLED in various places as well as an LED controller. But we'll focus on Hue first. Why did I get it? It's a big name, it integrates with everything, and it was kind of all there was out there at the time. And I was, in my early days, I kind of got it as a starter pack with an Echo Dot, so I needed something that worked with that, and Hue was the one. Positives: it's easy to use, quick and easy to set up. There is a great app interface which does everything you want it to. The new update is a little bit odd, but I'm slowly getting used to it, I think. And they've got a wide range of bulbs for everything you want, which is great. So it just works. Negatives: it's quite expensive. It's very expensive if you want colour. Extremely expensive if you want colour. For non-colour things, it's not bad, I don't think, for what you get, but it is expensive. And the other negative is the coloured light isn't particularly saturated, especially for the price of it, which is a shame because when you're paying 40 quid for a light bulb, you'd kind of hope it to actually produce a nice colour. But you get what you get, I suppose. And the Home Assistant integration is great. It's local. It does what it needs to. Cooling scenes is a little bit faffy, but it works. So you can't complain too much, I suppose. Would I get it again? This is an interesting one. I would and I wouldn't. I'm very happy with my system, so much that my mum now also has Philips Hue, as does my dad. So it is a great system and I have recommended it to plenty of people. Personally, now that I'm in the Home Assistant world, I might consider other options. I do currently consider other options if I wanted to colour light bulbs, but for the white and the white ambience, I'm very happy. As for other lights, my Aqara switches I haven't had for that long, but I'm very happy with them. No neutral means, they work for everything in British houses which don't have neutrals, because irritating. I can't fault them. They're a light switch. They work manually. They integrate into Home Assistant through Zigbee. It is all great. And WLED, again, can't fault it. It's an incredible platform for control of your LED strips with a D1 Mini. It's got an app with it, and it's got a great integration. So music is our next category. Now I've got a Sonos system throughout my house. Why did I get Sonos? Because, well, Sonos. It was kind of the only player in multi-room audio. And in my mind, it kind of almost still is, or it's definitely the biggest player in multi-room audio in terms of the way it works, the way you can sync, the way you don't have issues if you wanted to play different music on each speaker in terms of stream limits and all that. So can't fault it. So positives, quality. It's quality sound, it's quality materials, it's quality devices, it's a quality app, it's a quality system. The audio syncing is great. The interface is great. I can't fault it really, other than the price, which isn't unreasonable for what you get, I don't think. Negatives. The only negative I have is to do with the Home Assistant integration. The integration is local and it does all the media kind of control stuff that you want, but there is no way to search in Home Assistant for music. And the only way to trigger music is if you've already added it to your My Sonos library. Which, if you have that in like an automation, it gets a bit repetitive because every day you have the same songs playing. Other than that, can't fault Sonos, and I would 100% get it again. Next up, we have sensors. Now, I can't really give the same overview as the others with sensors because I've got so many different makes of sensors. They're all Zigbee sensors, and they're all over my house, and they all work slightly differently. My favourite sensor by far is the Philips Hue motion sensor. I've found that some of the other Zigbee sensors I've got don't update quite as frequently, and they're a little bit slow. But the Hue one is much more reliable in my mind. The door sensors I've got from all sorts of places are all great. Can't fault them. Very happy. So next up we have voice. Now I use Amazon Echo as my voice assistant, and I got it because it was kind of bigger than Google at the time. This was a few years ago, and it was kind of cheaper than Google, and it kind of seemed more logical, and I don't regret it. Positives, it's a voice assistant. It kind of does what it needs to. It's not amazing. It doesn't, if you're wanting to ask random kind of googly questions, I would say that the Google assistants are better at that. But in terms of actually integrating things into it, if you don't have something like Home Assistant, is great. The automations are much better, routines, whatever you want to call them. They're always coming out with new features. They all seem to come out in America and not England, like guard dog mode. But, you get what you can. I've got them everywhere, in every room, and they do what they need to. Would I get Amazon again? Yeah, I have no problems with Amazon at all. I would say that I haven't noticed any difference in devices since the first generation to where we are now. So I'm not sure they've actually changed anything, given most of what you do is voice stuff anyway, and voice is on the cloud and being developed, and it's the same voice engine for everything. The next category we've got is cameras. Now, I've had a lot of cameras over the last couple of years. I've tested a lot, and I am quite confidently settled on Reolink as a system. And so much so that is the system that I've installed for my mum lately as well. And that's because it just works. It's a simple to use app. It gives you everything you need to. They've got a wide enough range of cameras to cover most of your needs. It would be nice to see a doorbell in there, Reolink, if you're listening. But other than that, it does what it needs to. You can choose your cameras based on your needs. You get what you want. It's actually remarkably cheap for the quality you get. And it's got, and the latest cameras have got advanced AI built into the camera. So it's secure, it's private, it is great. I can't fault it. There are some better cameras for more specific things. Like the Anki has a much better night vision camera, in my opinion. And if you wanted, a ridiculously expensive camera, then you can go down an expensive route. But I just don't think it's worth it. Reolink has kind of everything covered, and a great app to go with it. So would I get it again? 100%. And yeah, I'm very happy with it. And that is all the key devices I have in my home to mention for you today. Now, I hope these pros and cons were useful for you. I think it's important to be honest about stuff, and I know a lot of people, when making reviews, won't have had devices for very long, because, you've got to make a video out of it and you've got to review it. So I think it's important to actually revisit devices that I live with daily and have done with some of them for years. So I think it's important to kind of share my long-term thoughts on the devices I use and why I use them, why I chose them, and whether I'd still get them today. So there we go. That is the devices in my smart home with a long-term review after many, many hours and hours of having used them. Make sure you hit that subscribe button below and click the bell icon to find out more about My Smart Tech and how you can build yourself the ultimate smart home.